There's a place where the soul meets the silence, where every excuse dies, where every rationalization crumbles into dust. And in that place, you stand alone, not with your achievements, not with your title, not with the applause of the world, but with the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are when no one is watching. You don't have to feel good about it. You just have to keep going. Let that sink in. Let it cut through the fog of comfort you've been hiding. Because the truth is this: your feelings are not your compass. Your emotions are not your guide. They are waves, crashing, rising, falling, disappearing. But you remain. You are the shore. You are the ground beneath the storm. You are greater than the hurricane of doubt that sweeps through your mind at 3 a.m. when the alarm screams and your body begs for mercy. This is where most people stop. This is where the masses turn over, pull the covers back up, and choose the warmth of mediocrity over the cold march toward greatness. But not you, not anymore, because you've seen something they haven't seen. You've tasted something they refuse to taste. You've heard the voice, the one that whispers in the dark, the one that says, "There is more. There is so much more." And that voice, it's not coming from you. It's coming from the one who formed you in the secret place, who knit you together with purpose, who looked at the chaos of your life and said, "I will make something beautiful from this." Jesus Christ didn't die on a cross so you could live a comfortable life. He didn't bleed so you could sleep in. He didn't carry the weight of every sin, every failure, every betrayal humanity would ever commit so that you could scroll through your phone and waste the hours he bought for you with his blood. The cross was not a suggestion. It was a declaration. It was a war cry. It was the moment heaven looked at hell and said, "Not today, not my child." But here's the problem. We've turned the gospel into a bedtime story. We've made grace an excuse for laziness. We've taken the resurrection, the single most explosive event in human history, and we've domesticated it. We've put it in a frame. We've sung songs about it. We've built buildings around it, but we haven't lived it. We haven't let it wreck us. We haven't let it ruin our plans and rebuild our lives from the ground up. Because if you really believed that the God of the universe loved you enough to send his only son to die in your place, you wouldn't waste another second. You wouldn't hit snooze. You wouldn't scroll. You wouldn't numb the pain with distractions and call it rest. You would rise. You would run. You would burn with the kind of holy obsession that makes the world uncomfortable because they can't explain it. They can't buy it, and they can't fake it. Let's talk about the lies. The ones you tell yourself when the work gets hard, the ones that sound so reasonable, so logical, so compassionate. "I don't have time." That's a lie. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference is priority. The difference is sacrifice. The difference is saying no to good things so you can say yes to the great thing. "I'm too busy." Another lie. You're not too busy. You're too distracted. You're too comfortable. You're too afraid that if you actually tried, really tried, you might fail. And failure feels like death. But here's the truth. Failure is not death. Quitting is. The Bible says that faith without works is dead. But let me take it further. Faith without suffering is shallow. Faith without sacrifice is a fantasy. Faith without discipline is just a feeling, and feelings pass. The rain comes, the storm hits, the ground shakes, and the house built on sand collapses. But the house built on the rock, it stands, it endures, it weathers every assault because it was never built for comfort. It was built for eternity. You want to know why you feel tired, why you feel burned out, why you feel like you're running on empty? Because you're living for yourself, and the self is a terrible god. It demands everything and gives nothing. It promises fulfillment and delivers emptiness. It whispers, just a little more comfort, just a little more rest, just a little more pleasure. And before you know it, you've wasted years chasing shadows. But Jesus offers something different. He offers a yoke. He offers a burden. He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." But don't misunderstand. This is not the rest of the lazy. This is not the rest of the defeated. This is the rest of the warrior who has fought the good fight and knows that the battle is not his to win. It's already been won. 2,000 years ago on a hill called Calvary, the war was over. The enemy was defeated. Death was swallowed up in victory. And now? Now we fight from victory, not for it. So when you wake up and you don't want to, when you're tired and your body aches and your mind screams for relief, remember this: champions are made when they're tired. Legends are forged in the fire of exhaustion. The real warriors show up when everyone else stays home, because anybody can perform when they feel good. Anybody can push when they're motivated. But the ones who change the world, the ones who leave a legacy, They're the ones who move when every fiber of their being is begging them to stop. You don't need motivation. You need mission. You need purpose. You need a reason to get out of bed that's bigger than yourself. And if you're a follower of Christ, you have the greatest mission in the history of the universe: to reflect the glory of God in a broken world, to be light in the darkness, to be salt in the decay, to be a living, breathing testament to the fact that grace is real, redemption is possible, and transformation is not just a theory, it's a testimony. Think about the graveyard. Think about the millions of people who lived and died without ever stepping into their potential, who played it safe, who chose comfort over calling, who let fear dictate their decisions and regret define their legacy. Don't be one of them. Don't let your tombstone read, "Here lies someone who could have, but didn't." Let it read, "Here lies someone who heard the call and answered, who saw the cross and took up their own, who understood that this life is not a dress rehearsal, it's the only shot we get." The enemy wants you tired. He wants you distracted. He wants you convinced that you're doing enough, that you're trying hard enough, that you deserve a break. But the truth is, you're not even close to your limit. You're not even scratching the surface of what God has placed inside you. There's a depth in you that you haven't touched. There's a strength in you that you haven't tapped. There's a fire in you that you've been dousing with excuses and comfort and the opinions of people who will never understand what it means to burn for something greater than themselves. Suffering is not your enemy. Suffering is your teacher. Every hard day, every painful moment, every trial that feels like it's going to break you, it's building something in you that comfort never could. It's creating a story worth telling. It's forging a character that can't be shaken, because without the bad days, the story is boring. Without the valleys, the mountains mean nothing. Without the cross, the resurrection is just a fairy tale. But the cross was real, the nails were real, the blood was real, and the love that held him there, that love is still real. It's still reaching. It's still calling. It's still saying, "I didn't go through all of that so you could waste your life. I didn't endure the wrath of God so you could live in mediocrity. I didn't conquer death so you could be afraid of a little discomfort." So stop waiting for the feeling. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel motivated or inspired or confident. Start moving. Start working. Start showing up even when you don't want to, because discipline is doing the thing in spite of not wanting to do the thing. Discipline is making the promise small and building it up step by step. Discipline is knowing you're going to have setbacks and showing up anyway. A habit missed once is a mistake. A habit missed twice is the start of a new habit. Never miss 2 days in a row. And here's the key. When you're going through something really challenging, how do you show up within it? Do you become a victim? Do you complain? Do you let the misery define you? Or do you find meaning in how you show up in the suffering? Do you let it refine you? Do you let it reveal who you really are? Because the truth is, you don't know who you are until you're tested. You don't know what you're made of until the pressure comes. And pressure doesn't break you. It reveals what was already there. Jesus knew this. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed, "Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me, but not my will, yours." He didn't want to suffer. He didn't want to die, but he did it anyway, because he knew that on the other side of the cross was resurrection. On the other side of the tomb was victory. On the other side of the suffering was the salvation of the world. And that's what he's asking of you. Not perfection, not superhuman strength, just obedience, just faithfulness, just the willingness to take the next step, even when you can't see the path. Because you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step, and then the next one, and then the next one. And before you know it, you're standing on top of the mountain, looking back at the valley, and realizing that every painful step was worth it. The man who never fell has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is. The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times has even more. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward in spite of it. Courage is looking at the obstacle and saying, "I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I know the one who does, and he's never failed me yet." You have a voice in your head that says, "Could you really do this? Is it going to happen? There's nothing out there for me." That's the voice of fear. That's the voice of the enemy. That's the voice that wants to keep you small, keep you safe, keep you stuck. But there's another voice, a still, small voice that says, "I have plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That's the voice of the Father. And if you listen closely, if you quiet the noise and the chaos and the doubt, you'll hear it. And when you hear it, you'll know that you were never meant to stay where you are. You were meant to climb. Focus on the next step. Don't worry about the destination. Don't worry about how far you have to go. Just take the next step, because every step you take in obedience is a step away from who you were and a step toward who you're becoming. And the man you're becoming, he's a warrior, he's a champion, he's someone who doesn't quit when it gets hard. He's someone who shows up when he's tired. He's someone who knows that the easy road leads to a hard life, and the hard road leads to an easy life. If you do easy things, your life will be hard. If you do hard things, your life will be easy. It's that simple. And yet so few people understand it. So few people are willing to pay the price up front. They want the shortcut. They want the hack. They want the result without the process. But God doesn't work that way. He's not interested in shortcuts. He's interested in transformation. And transformation requires time, pressure, and heat. It requires the furnace. It requires the fire. Gold is refined in the fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. And you're being shaped into the image of Christ. And that's not a comfortable process. It's painful, it's brutal, it's relentless. But it's also the most beautiful thing that will ever happen to you. Because on the other side of the fire, you're not the same person. You're stronger, you're purer, you're more like Him. So embrace the grind, embrace the struggle, embrace the pain. Not because you're a masochist, but because you understand that every moment of suffering is a moment of becoming. Every hard day is a chapter in the story you'll one day tell. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. And every failure is a lesson wrapped in grace. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop competing with people who aren't even running the same race. Your race is between you and God. It's you versus you. It's who you are today versus who you were yesterday. And if you can look in the mirror at the end of the day and say, I gave everything I had. I showed up when I didn't want to. I pushed when I was tired. I honored God with my effort even when no one was watching. Then you won. You don't need the applause. You don't need the recognition. You just need the peace that comes from knowing you didn't waste the day He gave you. And here's the beautiful part. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. The more you push through discomfort, the more comfortable you become with being uncomfortable. The more you show up when you're tired, the more you realize that tiredness is just a feeling. It's not a fact. The more you say no to the easy road, the more you fall in love with the hard one. Because the hard road is where the growth is. The hard road is where the glory is. The hard road is where you meet Jesus. He's not in the comfort zone. He's not in the safe space. He's in the wilderness. He's in the storm. He's in the garden where you're sweating blood and begging for. And He's saying, I know it's hard. I know it hurts. But trust me, I've been where you are, and I'm not leaving you. I'm walking with you, step by step, mile by mile, breath by breath. So when you wake up tomorrow and you don't want to get out of bed, when you're staring at the ceiling and your body is screaming for rest, ask yourself this: do I want to be weak today? Do I want to walk around knowing I could have but didn't? Or do I want to be strong? Do I want to honor the sacrifice that was made for me? Do I want to live like the cross actually mattered? Because it did matter. It matters more than anything. And if you really believe that, then your life should look different. Your choices should look different. Your effort should look different. You should be the person who does more than expected, the person who shows up early, the person who stays late, the person who doesn't make excuses, the person who doesn't quit. You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. Because quitting is not just the end of the task, it's the erosion of your character. It's the slow death of your integrity. It's the compromise that says, I'm okay with being less than who I was created to be. And you're not okay with that, not anymore, because you've seen the cross, and you know that the God who gave everything for you deserves everything from you. So get up again tomorrow, get up again the next day, and the day after that. Keep going, keep grinding, keep believing, keep fighting, not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because you're not your own. You were bought with a price, and that price was too high for you to waste your life on comfort and convenience and the approval of people who don't matter. You are a child of the King. You are a warrior in the army of heaven. You are a carrier of the light that can never be extinguished. And the world is watching, not to judge you, not to mock you, but to see if what you claim to believe is actually real. To see if the gospel has the power to change a life. To see if Jesus can take a broken, tired, flawed human being and turn them into something magnificent. And He can. He's done it before. He's doing it now. He'll keep doing it until the end of time. But He needs you to cooperate. He needs you to show up. He needs you to stop making excuses and start making moves. He needs you to take the cape off the wall and put it back on. Because you were never meant to retire from your calling. You were never meant to settle into comfortable obscurity. You were meant to shine. So shine, burn, blaze. Let the world see what it looks like when someone takes Jesus seriously, when someone actually believes that all things are possible with God, when someone stops waiting for permission and starts walking in obedience, when someone stops asking, "What if I fail?" and starts asking, "What if I fly?" Because you will fly. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day you'll look back and realize that every hard step, every painful moment, every tear-soaked night of doubt, it was all building something in you that the world can't take away. A strength that comes from above, a peace that surpasses understanding, a joy that's not dependent on circumstances, a life that's worth living, a story that's worth telling. And at the end of it all, when you stand before the throne and give an account of what you did with the time you were given, you'll hear the words every soul longs to hear. Well done, good and faithful servant. You didn't waste it. You didn't give up. You kept going even when you didn't feel like. You trusted me when you couldn't see the path. You honored me with your life. Now enter into the joy of your master. That's the goal. That's the prize. That's what makes every sacrifice worth it. Not the success, not the recognition, not the applause of men, but the approval of God, the smile of the Father, the embrace of the Savior who bled for you and says, "You were worth it." Every drop, every nail, every moment of suffering, you were worth it, and you proved it by how you lived. So don't waste the cross. Don't waste the blood. Don't waste the resurrection. Live like it's real. Live like he's coming back. Live like every moment matters, because it does. Every choice, every word, every step, it all counts. It's all building something. And one day, when the story is finished and the book is closed, you'll see it. You'll see how every thread was woven together, how every trial was preparing you, how every moment of obedience was an investment in eternity. You don't have to feel good about it. You just have to keep going. The feeling will pass, but you will remain. You are greater than your feelings. You are stronger than your excuses. You are more capable than you know. And with Christ, you are unstoppable. So rise, fight, endure, overcome, not in your strength, but in His. Not by your power, but by His Spirit. Not for your glory, but for His name. And when the battle is over and the victory is won, you'll stand in the light of eternity and know, beyond any shadow of doubt, that it was all worth it. Every step, every tear, every moment you chose obedience over comfort. It was all worth it, because you didn't just live, you truly lived, and that makes all the difference.